Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Fluid Mechanics Week 6. As you can see, I slid quiz 1 to this Friday. I felt like there was some uncertainty in some of the homework that I looked through, so I wasn't sure I was ready for that. I'm going to have you do another buoyancy exercise. This time it's actually going to be a lab, so I'll explain that in a second. But what I want to do first is go over number 18, which is the cork in the water problem. There is an example problem in the book of this same kind of problem, but they have the cork sideways. So I said, put the cork up and down. It makes it a little easier. You don't have this curved surface to deal with. You just have these vertical cylindrical surfaces. So I want to go through that kind of slowly, show you how I did it. There's a couple ways to do it, but the concept is what we really need to understand. So I want to make sure you understand this displacement of water for buoyancy. So I'm going to flip it around and show you some work. All right, here's the problem. Right, we have this cork and its geometric shape. I'm looking for my pencil here. Seems to be missing. Ah, here it is. Its geometric shape was 0.75 diameter, 1.75 tall, and this is the position I said to put it in. Its weight was 0.2 ounces. So we know that there's 16 ounces per pound, or 1 pound. So we may need to convert that. We want to find the float line. So the concept, I calculated the specific weight just for fun of the cork, right? That would be the volume and the weight. So I did that, got it in ounces per inches cubed, which is different than water's specific weight. That's coming to us in pounds per foot cubed. So then I converted it to pounds per foot cubed. So 27 is what cork is. Water is 62. Cork's a lot lighter than water. So that kind of makes sense. All right, let's talk about buoyancy and float. So an object floats when it's underwater volume. This volume is displacing water. So water has to get out of the way for this thing to go into the water. That weight of the water, this volume weight of water that you're displacing, when that is equal to the weight of the object, the 0.2, then you have the float situation. So this water that is being displaced, when it weighs 0.2 ounces, then this thing settles and stops sinking. Now, if the object can't displace enough, and the weight is more than the weight displaced of the entire object, then it sinks. I mean, that's the concept between float and sink. Okay. Now, to calculate that, you need the volume underwater, but you don't know the depth. So I set D as the depth, and I calculated this volume underwater, right? So that is this number right here. This is the volume underwater. So pi D squared times the depth, right? So pi r squared is what I did. Pi r squared, that's the 0.375. And I divided by 12 to give me feet, because I really wanted this feet and this feet, right, to cross. So I took this is a radius, divide by 12, pi r squared is the area of the circle, and then times the depth is the volume. All right, so that's this statement here in feet squared. Now, what this volume is doing is it's displacing water. So that's why you use 62.4 pounds, because this is what's being displaced. And this will then give you like pounds per foot, right? Now, you set that equal to the pounds of the object. So 0.2 ounces, I converted that to pounds, and it is 0.0125. How'd I do that? I just took the 0.2 and divided by 16, right? 0.2 divided by 16 gives me my pounds. All right, so I've got pounds and I've got pounds, so that's gonna work because this is gonna divide over. The feet that are down below will flip up and I'll end up with feet. Okay, that's the depth in feet. Of course, if you multiply by 12, we get the depth in inches. I got 0.78 inches. So some of you got pretty close to that. Not exactly, but I wanted you to see and understand the flow of this because this is basically your lab that you're going to do at home. I don't really want to, I'm going to head into chapter 4. You all need to do some reading in chapter 4 because we are going to go into this first part, which says recognize the types of water flow. So that's good. We will do energy grade lines, but we'll probably do this first, compute the discharge and velocity of water flowing in a simple system. So we will start into this. And then we'll probably do something like that, I hope. So laminar turbulent flow is first, then it does get into the conservation law. So this is super important for us when we're calculating velocities with fluid systems, okay? So really look through this conservation law carefully. We'll do energy head because that's important. That's how everything is collected. We will do Reynolds number. So that's that first part between turbulent and non-turbulent. So look through chapter 4 in preparation for the lecture later this week. Let's talk about the lab. Hopefully that helped. You can back it up and go through it slowly. The lab is this. So it is a buoyancy lab. It's worth 50 points. I want you to do it. You have until the 19th, which is Friday. You're going to find a standard food tin. 10 to 12 ounces, something close to that is fine. Clearly something you want to use because I'm going to make you open it and eat it. Just kidding on the eat part, but hopefully you eat it. I don't want you wasting food for this. That tin by itself weighs about a ½ ounce. That's about the best data I can get on it. I'll do this lab also and update this if I need to when I weigh the tin. I'm guessing most of you don't have small scales to weigh the tin, so you can use a ½ ounce. So you're going to cut it off and you're going to empty the contents and you're going to clean the tin. And then you're going to add water to the tin. You're going to add 2 inches of water. Okay. So you should be able to calculate that water weight. Do it. And then you should be able to add your ½ ounce, your tin weight to it to get the total weight of this thing. So empty tin with 2 inches of depth of water inside. Okay. Now you should be able to calculate where the float line is. And if you think about this, a good portion of the volume is water that's going to go into the water. So you should be able to come up with some very close estimates, but I want you to actually calculate where that water line will be and mark it on the tin before you put it in water. So let's see how close we come. Once it's marked, then set it in water carefully. It's going to want to possibly tip over, so be careful. Try to hold it and take a picture of it in the water and see how close your water line is to the actual water line. That's what we want to see. So good luck with the buoyancy lab. Later this week, I'm going to do a lecture on chapter 4. Probably start with turbulent and laminar flow. There will be, at the end of the week, a quiz. And the quiz will be over simple things like specific weight and properties of fluids, then you'll probably have a underwater pressure problem. You'll probably have a buoyancy problem. Maybe all three, maybe not, maybe just two. Okay, you'll have all day to do it on Friday. If Saturday or Sunday works better, then just let me know and I can make it available whichever day is better than Friday, if Friday's not good. All right, good luck with the lab. Let me know how it goes. Some new homework will come available towards the end of the week.